All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are just now starting. Let me see who we have here. I am going to let Miss Kanti in. All right. So Miss Kanti, you're in now. I just want to check one little thing. Miss Kanti, can you turn on your audio and video? Kanti Suresh Shetty.
Yeah, can you hear me, Miss Lumbi?
Yes, please turn on your video.
Yeah, I guess I have. Yeah. 1 second, hold on.
Thank you.
Right. Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you, but you may want to turn off your set up your camera correctly, because we can only see your head.
Okay, give me okay, now?
Yes, that's better. But
Okay.
also you have too much light, so
Okay, let me switch this off.
yeah. Thank you.
That's better, I guess. Yeah.
It's better, but we can set it some more later. Let's just get started. So you
Okay.
can turn off now your video, Ms. Kanti.
Okay.
So anybody that is not participating in panel 1, please turn off your audios and your videos. I need only to be on the screens. I need Neha, Ian, Shelley, and Mary. Those are the only people I'm going to see on the screens. Everyone else, turn off your cameras and your audio. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And first of all, welcome everyone to the Science Summit at the United Nations General Assembly, 79. I'm grateful that you guys are here. And thank you to all the speakers for accepting the invitation to speak. I am the one convening the session. And together with Impactoverse, Noleen, we have put these sessions together. And we're looking forward to hearing you guys speak. And hopefully we can have some very good takeaways from these sessions. So without wasting much time, I am going to go ahead and start. So again, welcome everyone to the Science Summit. This is a science-powered permaculture, a collaborative approach to sustainability divided into 3 subsessions. The subsession for this panel 1 is named How Inclusive Technology Can Facilitate Collaborations for Climate Resilience Through Permaculture. The objective is to explore the pivotal role of inclusive technology in fostering collaborations that enhance climate resilience through permaculture by demonstrating how accessible technologies connect scientists, permaculture designers, local communities, and policymakers. This session will illustrate how these technologies support integrated approaches to resource management, agricultural productivity, and sustainability, ultimately showcasing the effectiveness of technology-driven collaborations in building resilient ecosystems. We expect to showcase inclusive technologies that support sustainable agriculture and land management systems through collaborative efforts, to show that science informs practice, to collaborate for awareness raising and co-creating durable permaculture solutions, to engage youth and promote inclusive science by leveraging technology to engage and promote practices within permaculture projects, to tap into opportunities for funding inclusive technology to promote sustainable development. So I do know for a fact that a lot of people need funding. So I hope that we can make some connections here. So I'm going to go on and share a 1-minute video with you all. So then after that, I'm going to give control to your moderator. So let me go ahead and share it now. This is a video, and we start.
Delving into the United Nations General Assembly, we at JB Dondolo and Impactoverse ask that as you engage, you're reminded of foundational aspects that underpin our work and these panels. Without access and more open science, we cannot progress the goals for the greater good. Without partnerships, collaboration, and coordinated effort, we cannot amplify the impact we intend to have. And without engaging our youth, we risk eliminating the hope of long-term solutions for future generations. On that note, we proudly introduce our youth interns. They'll be listening closely and capturing key insights to be reviewed by us ahead of submission to the UN General Assembly Science Summit to inform the upcoming Summit of the Future. We appreciate your contributions as we embark on this important journey together. Thank you for helping to shape a sustainable future.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go ahead and give the control to your host, to your moderator, and that is Mary Kurek.
Thank you, Lumbi. And what a joy it is to be here with all these experts. I can't wait to dive in. And so we're going to start with our sustainable future, Ms. Neha. Neha, as an AI ethicist at the World Economic Forum and a youth who has worked for NASA and advocates for innovation, what insights can be drawn from today's youth, do you think, on how inclusive technologies can connect scientists, permaculture designers, local communities, and policymakers to create positive change?
That is a great question. Thank you so much. And first of all, it's such an honor to be here at the United Nations Science Summit, and a big thank you to Lumbi and Mary for convening and hosting this. So in my perspective, I started my journey when I was 15 years old, kind of seeing the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on my community. So very different from climate resilience and the incredible work that a lot of you are working on today, but seeing that inciting moment of the devastation of my local community really pushed me to get involved. And so I taught myself how to code in my makeshift bedroom lab and built 6 feet apart, which was a wearable social distancing device to save lives. And so that was kind of my first experience with building something and really channeling my ideas and imagination into something that could be a tangible solution. And since then, I've kind of fallen in love with developing solutions and fighting for my community. And so whether it's things like my early 6 feet apart invention or being able to work at NASA on Earth orbiting satellites, detecting emerging wildfires and oceanic oil spills through satellite imagery and remote sensing, it's kind of been an exciting journey seeing that progress. And so the biggest insight I would say is that young people are really working on a grassroots level and are interacting with these problems on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the destruction of their home due to climate change, or whether it's things like wildfires, lead contamination in the water, all these things. And so, you know, it's all about tapping into these youth experiences and making sure that we're giving young people a seat at the table, whether it's you know, collaborating with a local company and really amplifying youth perspectives, or creating a space for young people in governments and stakeholders. And so making sure that we're able to intergenerationally collaborate and have this space where, you know, our ideas, our lived experiences, the actual problems that we're working with on a day-to-day basis are getting incorporated into these massive companies, you know, projects and initiatives on the ground. Because I think there's something really powerful there with the work that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, really directly with, you know, in contrast with lots of companies, lots of scientists, and lots of labs that are working on kind of a bit more of a removed level away from the problems. And so having young people who are there to help carry out your vision and mission is one of the most powerful things, for sure.
Wow, what a combo you are. Innovator and role model. That is amazing. Thank you for that answer. I just hope all the youth that are listening follow in your footsteps. I want to turn to Ian and say, you know, you're in practice, if you will, of a lot of these sustainable innovation sort of ideas. And so as a CEO of Helixa Technologies, tackling, you know, the most pressing global challenge, which is a world with fresh water, that we are fighting that crisis right now all over the world, not just in places that we would consider marginal. But what are the key challenges and solutions, do you think, that in implementing these technologies to improve agricultural productivity while ensuring sustainability and benefits for local communities?
Sure. So I think first, when we look at the problems, we look at these complex problems, we have to start by thinking differently. We as human beings are incredibly good at bending the world to our will. If we bend it too much, we tend to break it, right? So
Yeah.
we need to start thinking about things about how to keep ourselves in balance with the world around us, not necessarily bending it to our will. So when we look at the water, you know, a water crisis, for example, or water stress, we look at, well, how does the earth do it? How can we replicate that and make that sustainable? Obviously, continuing to poke holes in the ground, putting more straws in the ground, you know, with more people feeding off of those straws, is just going to deplete our fresh water supply. But all the water we need is right here in the air we breathe, right? We get it every day. So, you know, the earth just continues to replenish that, right? The same water that the dinosaurs were drinking, we're drinking the same water they were, right? The water just continues to recycle. So when we looked at the problem, we went, okay, well, let's make sure that we're doing it in a way that is sustainable, right? So we are freezing water vapor right out of the air. That's how a lot of our water is created, you know, inside of, you know, our fresh water supplies are created. And that allows us to provide decentralized water. So when you think about water freedom, you know, if you have these centralized water supplies, all of a sudden, you know, people are competing for those. If we create decentralized solutions, now we can give everybody their own water freedom, and we can start taking stress off of the system. In regards to agriculture, I think it's a sort of a two-step approach, right? First, you know, we're not going to solve the water problems overnight, right? They're too vast. So we have to start thinking about how to take stress off of the system. So if we can start taking stress off of the system by decentralizing residential water supplies, that means there's more supply going to the agricultural side. That will help, you know, create a more sustainable, you know, agricultural and permaculture, you know, throughout the world. So that's one step. The next step after we start to do that is to actually create larger, you know, deposition water harvesting systems that can now do, you know, municipal water supply or, you know, larger agricultural water supply. So I think it's a two-phased approach, but step one is to start taking stress off of the system. And we do that in a decentralized way. And we can do that rapidly, and we can do it sustainably, and we can do it constantly, consistently.
I love how you're taking technology that has been around a bit, but making it better and making it more accessible for everybody and solving one of the biggest problems we have going on. And I think since we're diving into technology, I want to come back to Neha and ask her, you know, as the founder of the nonprofit Innovation for Everyone, which is kind of what we're talking about here, which mobilizes, you know, young people for responsible tech and AI ethics. How can we bridge the AI literacy gap and build a generation of young people committed to responsible tech and ethical AI? And along with that, you know, the audience could also benefit from your insights, I believe, on the most effective platforms or tools for fostering greater community engagement and active participation in permaculture initiatives. So I leave that with you, Neha.
Absolutely. So Innovation for Everyone was founded in 2020. We're a 501c3 nonprofit mobilizing young people from all over the world to kind of fight for a more equitable, responsible, and ethical future of AI. And I think we're really seeing, you know, disinformation running rampant. We're seeing deepfake gender violence, we're seeing algorithmic discrimination. And so really we're hoping to be at the forefront of young people who are fighting for AI systems and technology as a whole to be built with the safety and well-being of young people prioritized, with making sure that technology is used to uplift us, not exploit us. And so really a lot of that goes down to fighting for critical thinking and challenging assumptions about AI. And so we're working on national and global AI ethics literacy outreach. So working with, getting nuanced conversations in classrooms and boardrooms. And it's really been exciting kind of seeing that movement grow. And so as this relates to climate change and the climate crisis, daily ChatGPT use takes up as much energy as 180,000 houses. And this is only expected to increase. And we're seeing the rise of generative AI systems, of multimodal AI systems. And so we need to make sure that, a big part of the work that we're doing with AI ethics literacy is making sure young people are aware of, the possibilities of AI and the many ways in which we could apply AI and technology in general to create climate solutions. There's many ways to apply AI algorithms to optimize the energy usage of a building, or find ways to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. However, it's also very important for us in the education that we're sharing for young people is the understanding of when it's really important to use ChatGPT or other generative AI tools in moderation, because the impact of, creating a funny picture using generative AI or ChatGPTing, an essay prompt has a massive environmental impact. And what are the ways in which we can, be better, more informed citizens about AI, knowing the ways in which, it might be damaging to literacy rates. It might be damaging to the ways that as a young child, you're still developing cognitively. And it's important to have that balance between thinking on your own and then having an AI think for you. But also very important to understand that, each of our actions have a really great impact. And with climate, it's important to understand that all of this AI usage, all of these, massive servers and systems are heavily reliant on energy, on water, on fossil fuels, and even chips. Like it is a human rights crisis. We're seeing the people who are mining those chips are exposed to such toxins. And so it's important for us to have those, critical conversations about AI, because it's everyone's favorite buzzword right now. It's the, hottest topic in technology, but it's important to understand that, number one, AI cannot solve all of our problems. And it doesn't make sense to replace human ingenuity and the difficult, process of coming up with an idea, innovating, scaling your ideas and solutions. And I've known Lumbi since I met her at the United Nations General Assembly last year, when we both were at this Microsoft board meeting. And it was amazing to see how she's working within her community and has been doing so for years on water scarcity, on all these issues that are impacting the people that she knows. And so for me, I don't think AI can replace that sense of grassroots impact that real people are working on. And I think it's important for people to have that sense of critical awareness and understanding that there are many, many things technology can do. And it's important to lean into those positive things and also preserve what is very powerful about being human, what is powerful about protecting our climate, about reducing energy usage, about reducing reliance on fossil fuels. Having that balance and that critical understanding is really what we're working on.
Wow. Such a great thought leader, that leadership opportunity that you presented to us right here, because I think that understanding that balance between the human factor and the technology factor is really key. And I think that gets to the heart of the fear that's around it. And from your mouth to Oprah Winfrey's ears, okay? Because I think she just has put together or produced a whole TV show about AI and had acknowledged that she had not even tried it herself. until that show. So there's a lot of fear around that for sure. I want to turn back to Ian right now and ask someone who has, been innovating for quite some time and has had certainly, a lot of experience in seeing what works and what doesn't work in the realm of trying to pull something forward and really push toward a result that impacts the masses. I just want to ask you, can you share your experiences and expertise on the best practices for fostering technology-driven collaborations in permaculture? And is there a way to measure the effectiveness of these collaborations in building resilient ecosystems?
Sure. First, I agree with Neha. We have to remember that you can't replace human creativity. That part we have to continue to foster that in our youth, in our children, in our schools. It's super crucial, right? I'm having gone down this process. If you look at just the water technology we developed, for example, is the exact opposite of what everybody else tried for 35 years. It's the exact opposite process, but nobody ever tried the exact opposite process. It took a very smart scientist, Daniel Lang, who's part of our Calixa family here, to go, well, wait a second, why don't we think differently about this, right? And I don't think that AI gets you to that place, right? It's human creativity that gets you there. So having collaborated with some really smart people over the course of my career, I think the best practices are keep an open mind, right? Don't just assume that, you're getting, I think I say this to my kids all the time, school's not going to teach you the answers. It's going to teach you how to ask the questions, right? And if you learn how to ask good questions and you keep an open mind, you will get to really good technology solutions, right? So in terms of effectiveness, creating resilient ecosystems, that's something we're constantly looking at, right? When we look at water technology, for example, and going back to the agricultural side, right? If you look at the way we do agriculture, it hasn't changed much over the course of the last 50, 60 years, right? But it's due for a change. It's due for some creativity. Indoor farming, if we have a way to harvest water wherever we want it to be, now we can talk about doing indoor farming without impact to major impact to the environment, and we can figure out ways to do that by recycling the same water over and over again. These are things that we can create, that we've proven that we can create. It just takes more conversation and it takes more open-mindedness. I do think that AI is a good tool. We've seen that on the math side, right? And in terms of math, it's like, okay, well, it's a good tool, but unless you give it the right queries, right, you're not going to get the right answers. And it doesn't necessarily take the answers it's giving you and then start iterating off of that or creating technology off of that. That comes down to imagination, right? And that's the beauty of human mind. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. And, I think we need to continue to foster that.
Wow, well stated. And I think everybody here agrees that, you have to have that human factor and that creativity, and the imagination piece of that has to be in place. You're not going to get that robotically or in a technology sense. So I'm going to switch now to Shelley. And a lot of us know Shelley as being our space expert. So this is appropriate for her, as an eminent figure in space exploration and innovation, with extensive experience and a focus on strategic engagements and advocacy. How do you envision using inclusive space technology to facilitate collaborations among scientists, permaculture designers, local communities, and policymakers to enhance climate resilience?
I think that even though Shelley is showing here, she may be unable to speak. So I will play her video that she
I
already
think that's
shared.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go ahead and share that. Okay. Here it is. Make it bigger for everybody to see. I'm not going to play the whole video because I know that it's a long video. She just recorded, so we're gonna end it somewhere and then put this on the on YouTube for everybody to watch the rest.
Thank you, Lumbi Malambo, Noleen Mariappen, and the JB Dundalo team for organizing this important discussion. It's a privilege to join such a distinguished panel today. I'm Shelley Brunswick, an advocate for the strategic engagement of space technology and global challenges. I'm honored to share insights on leveraging these technologies to enhance climate resilience through collaborations. Space technology has revolutionized our understanding of Earth's systems. Satellites provide critical data that informs environmental management, agricultural practices, and disaster response strategies. They offer unparalleled insights into climate patterns, deforestation, water resources, and agricultural productivity, enabling us to develop more resilient and sustainable ecosystems. As we confront multifaceted challenges posed by climate change, these integrated solutions are not just beneficial, they are essential. Space technology provides a global perspective, allowing us to observe environmental changes at a scale and scope and resolution previously unimagined. By integrating space-based insights with local knowledge, we can empower communities to make data-driven decisions that enhance their resilience to climate impacts. For instance, satellite data can track deforestation, monitor soil health, and predict weather patterns. These are critical for permaculture design and sustainable agriculture. The key to enhancing climate resilience is fostering collaborations, bridging the gap between space-derived data and on-the-ground practices. Inclusive space technology can catalyze these collaborations, bringing together diverse stakeholders such as scientists, permaculture, designers, local communities, and policymakers all around this shared goal. By democratizing access to space-based tools, we empower local communities to actively manage their environments. For example, satellite data can help permaculture designers optimize land use by identifying areas best suited for specific crops or interventions, while also monitoring the long-term impact of these practices. Scientists use this data to validate and refine ecological activity, ensuring that the implemented solutions are both effective and sustainable. Meanwhile, policymakers leverage these insights to create informed policies that promote sustainable agricultural practices and climate adaptation strategies. Inclusivity is at the heart of successful collaborations. It is crucial to ensure that space-based data is accessible and understandable to all the stakeholders, particularly those in the local communities. By developing user-friendly tools and applications, we can translate complex satellite data into actionable insights for farmers, land managers, and policymakers.
Okay, I'm going to end it right there, so you can ask the next question.
Well, actually, it's interesting because Shelley has actually answered the next question I had for her that had to do with how can policymakers leverage inclusive space technology to support and enhance permaculture practices for climate resilience, and what policies are needed to encourage the adoption and integration of these technologies. And it seems like it's a complicated question, but honestly, she went right to the heart of it and gave us responses to all of these, these different segments individually, the scientists, the permaculture designers, and the local communities, as well as the policymakers, and how they could utilize and leverage this technology. There almost isn't anybody any better at answering something like this than Shelley Brunswick. So we really appreciate very much her going into that kind of detail for us. And for all of you, you've done such a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Neha and Ian, for all the answers. And, you know, we've got the one who's immersed in the technology and the innovation space now, and one who's already done it and is advocating for other youth to do the same and to be responsible with all of it and to utilize it for the best purpose going forward. So, Lumbi, I'm going to turn it back over to you to finalize things for this segment.
Okay. Actually, I think we had until 1:40, so I could still play the other answer
Okay.
for yes, just to finish up the this session.
All right. Yeah,
That's okay.
I think that would be good.
Yeah, okay. Let me do that. Go ahead and share. Okay, it is. Make it larger.
Thank you to the organizers, Lumbi Malambo and JB Dundalo, for convening this critical discussion, and to my fellow panelists for their contributions to advancing sustainable solutions. As we gather to explore how technology can facilitate climate resilience, I'm honored to share insights on the role of inclusive space technology in supporting and enhancing permaculture practices. Space technology can drive collaborations for climate resilience. Let's explore how policymakers can effectively leverage inclusive space technology to support and enhance permaculture practices. Specifically, we'll examine the necessary policies to encourage the widespread adoption and integration of these transformative technologies. Space technology, with its unique ability to provide comprehensive data on Earth systems, offers transformative potential for addressing global challenges. When we talk about permaculture, which is a holistic approach to sustainable land management, we recognize that its success depends on understanding the work and working harmoniously with natural systems. This is where space technology, such as satellite data and remote sensing, become invaluable. Policymakers are pivotal in bridging the gap between technology capability and practical applications, ensuring that these tools are accessible, actionable, and integrated into broader climate strategies. Policymakers are key to understanding the full potential of space technology for permaculture. By advocating for and implementing policies prioritizing integrating space-based data into agriculture and environmental practices, policymakers help drive more informed, sustainable decisions at every level, from local farming communities to national environmental agencies. One of the most significant ways policymakers can support this integration is by ensuring that space-based data is available to those who most need it. Open data policies, for instance, can democratize access to satellite information, enabling small-scale farmers and local communities to benefit from real-time insights into soil health, weather patterns, and crop viability. This access allows for more precise and sustainable land management practices, reducing resources while maximizing yield. Climate resilience is not just about adapting to current conditions. It's about preparing for the future challenges. This requires policymakers that are forward-thinking and inclusive. Policymakers should work to embed space technology into national and regional climate strategies, making it a cornerstone of efforts to enhance environmental sustainability. By aligning space technology with permaculture practices, policymakers can help build ecosystems that are not only productive, but also resilient.
All right. So we can end there and put the rest on the website. So back to you, Mary. I can wrap up.
All righty. Well, thank you to the two wonderful experts that we have here. And we have just a couple of minutes maybe to let you have a final comment. So Neha, final comments from you?
I think my final comment would just be to encourage all the attendees and people who are watching the UN Science Summit playback to find ways to take action within your communities. Listen to people on the grassroots level that are experiencing the challenges, hear what they have to say, and don't feel afraid to kind of create bold, messy, imaginative ideas to tackle those challenges. And we really need you as a society, as a country, and as a world. We really need people who are not afraid to kind of take up the role as being an innovator, being a builder, being an engineer of solutions for our climate, for racial equity, for AI, for all these intersectional challenges that we're seeing today. So really find a way to take action today, listen to your community, and start building solutions.
Perfect. A challenge and a charge to the youth that are listening. Thank you so much. Ian, words from you?
I would ask everybody to constantly ask themselves how they can stay in balance with the world around them, right? I think that's an important way to look at the future. That's how there are none of these problems are unsolvable, right? They're all solvable by us, provided that we start looking at things in that fashion. We were able to come up with a solution to help solve the world's water crisis by looking at the world in that way, or looking at our position in the world that way. How do we continue to stay in balance with the world around us? And I think if we do that, and we have enough people doing that, then all of these problems get solved. So that would be my final comments.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you. And thank you, Lumbee, for having us join you for this adventure today. And it's very worthwhile because I know that we're not just talking, it'll go to action. So thank you. And I'll turn it back over to you, Lumbee.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. And thank you, Neha and Ian and Shelley. Thanks, everyone, for this wonderful session. Very insightful. And so we're done with panel 1. We're getting ready to go to panel 2 for those that are in panel 2. So please stay with us. I do know that we have some guests, not just the people you see here that say it's participants. You don't really get to see everything in the back, but I'm able to see everyone. So thank you, everyone who joined. And so if you want to drop, for those that just talked, you can drop. If you want to stay, of course, we'd love you for you to stay. Okay, great.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Great.
Thank you.
Bye, Neha. Bye, Ian. Yes. All right, so now let's get ready for the next sub-session 2, which starts at 12:40 in about 2 minutes. Let me just check to make sure everybody is here for that session. Okay. That is going to be Judith, Guest, and George. I think I saw them earlier, so I think they're here. So Judith, Guest, and George, please turn on your cameras. And of course, Mary. Yeah. Okay. George, I do understand your situation that you may have to keep your camera turned off because of connectivity, and that's understandable. Same thing for you too, Judith, because I do know that connectivity is an issue. Okay, so we do have just 1 minute. If you have anything right now, cup of coffee or anything. All right.
My water is ready, so I'm good.
Okay, wonderful. Great. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and get started here so that we don't delay anyone. Let me just make sure the staff here is on board before we start. All right, let me check. Yep, I do have my staff here, interns here, so that's good. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, guys. So again, I am Lumbi Malambo. I am the founder of JB Dondolo. I am the one convening this session at the Science Summit at the United Nations General Assembly. And I want to thank you all for joining the second session. And we look forward to learning and getting to know each other, interacting and partnering, finding each other, right? Because that's what everybody needs. So let's see what we can do together. So I'm gonna get this to start. So welcome everyone. The science-powered permaculture is a collaborative approach to sustainability that is divided into 3 subsessions. The subsession for this panel 2 is named Educating for Innovation in Permaculture, Harnessing New Solutions for Sustainability. The objective of this session is to explore the importance of educating communities about innovative solutions in permaculture to promote sustainable development. We explore how educational initiatives, including nutrition, can integrate traditional knowledge with cutting-edge scientific and technological innovations, especially ecological, soil, and hydrological sciences. The expected outcomes are integration of permaculture principles in educational initiatives to foster ecological awareness. Science informs practice. Collaboration is key among educators, scientists, and permaculture designers in developing initiatives, innovative sustainability-focused curricula. Real-world examples of successfully integrated initiative approaches to permaculture, showcasing their impact on community and environmental health and nutrition. And of course, funding innovative solutions to promote sustainable development. At this time, I would like to play a quick video, an intro video here for you guys. So I'm gonna share my screen. All right. Let me just stop here. All right. Let's check in the sound. I think, see that is okay. So. Okay. Let me minimize that so I can see behind. It's amazing what things happen sometimes when you're trying to share. Okay. Now I can share. All right, here we go.
Delving into the United Nations General Assembly, we at JB Dondolo and Impactiverse ask that as you engage, you're reminded of foundational aspects that underpin our work and these panels. Without access and more open science, we cannot progress the goals for the greater good. Without partnerships, collaboration, and coordinated effort, we cannot amplify the impact we intend to have. And without engaging our youth, we risk eliminating the hope of long-term solutions for future generations. On that note, we proudly introduce our youth interns. They'll be listening closely and capturing key insights to be reviewed by us ahead of submission to the UN General Assembly Science Summit to inform the upcoming Summit of the Future. We appreciate your contributions as we embark on this important journey together. Thank you for helping to shape a sustainable future.
Wonderful. Okay. So I've stopped sharing. I'm going to give it to you, the moderator, to take it off and enjoy.
Thank you, Lumbi. So
Thank
it's
you.
another great panel. What a terrific group of experts that we have here. And I think what I want to do is start with Guest. And so Guest, as a certified permaculture designer who is really passionate about nature, could you please share with the audience how permaculture education can be developed to better integrate traditional ecological knowledge and contemporary scientific and technological advancements, and how this could support more widespread adoption of its sustainable practices?
Absolutely.
Well, I believe integrating traditional ecological knowledge with contemporary scientific and technological advancements in permaculture education can be achieved through a complex approach that values both knowledge systems and encourages innovation, ultimately fostering widespread adoption of sustainable practices. To begin with, a curriculum that incorporates both traditional knowledge and modern science can be developed. This would involve creating modules that explore the synergies between traditional practices and contemporary innovations, highlighting how they can complement and enhance each other. Each module can focus on a specific theme, such as water management, and include both traditional practices and modern scientific methods. This allows for flexibility in teaching. Furthermore, indigenous communities and scientists can also collaborate in creating educational content, ensuring that traditional knowledge is authentically represented and that scientific concepts are correctly put into perspective within traditional frameworks. Education materials can then be provided in local languages and use culturally appropriate communication methods. This approach would definitely ensure that knowledge is accessible and that it resonates with diverse communities. Course restructuring and development can be implemented through an investment in pilot programs that would explore new teaching methods, leading to the identification of successful approaches that can then be scaled and implemented more broadly. Fostering such innovative programs will encourage teachers and institutions to engage in research and experimentation, which can lead to the discovery of new permaculture techniques and the improvement of existing practices. Learning can also be facilitated in settings that allow students to see traditional knowledge and scientific methods in action together. For example, we can have field trips to permaculture demonstration sites that blend traditional and modern practices. These can actually provide powerful real-world examples of where both approaches are valid. And then in terms of technology, permaculture has already started incorporating technology in teaching and learning by developing comprehensive online platforms that offer courses, webinars, and resources, making permaculture education accessible to a global audience. Now, technology can also be used to document and share traditional ecological knowledge widely, such as the work in Western Kenya with farmers using mobile phone services. And then geographic information systems and remote sensing technologies can be incorporated to map and analyze traditional land use practices. These tools can help to visualize the effectiveness of traditional knowledge in maintaining biodiversity, managing water resources, and also enhancing soil health. So by redesigning the curriculum, enhancing teacher training, applying technology, and also engaging communities, permaculture education can become a very powerful vehicle for promoting sustainable practices that are both rooted in tradition and enhanced by modern innovations. This integration can lead to the widespread adoption of permaculture principles, which are tailored to the unique needs and strengths of diverse communities.
Wow, what a beautiful answer and so comprehensive. So I really appreciate that. It made me think of maybe drones being involved, you know, at some point to help with a lot of the technology pieces that you were talking about. And while permaculture isn't all agriculture specifically, the large, you know, part of it, you know, pretty much is, and it kind of based on that. So you really covered everything so well. So thank you very much, guest. I want to turn to Judith right now and talk to her, you know, in her capacity as a World Economic Forum top innovator and a founder of a biogas company. Do you believe permaculture education can be revolutionized by integrating cutting-edge ecological, soil, and hydrological sciences? And how can we empower youth to become leaders in implementing these innovative, sustainable solutions?
Many thanks. Thank you to JB Dondolo and Impact of This for having us on this platform. And indeed, as a World Economic Forum top innovator and founder of a biogas company, I strongly believe that permaculture education can be revolutionized by integrating those cutting-edge ecological, soil, and hydrological sciences. And like guest has elaborated earlier, it's also good to provide a comprehensive understanding of sustainable systems and equip these students with the skills to design and implement innovative solutions through a change in the curriculum, because things are ever changing and things are ever revolving around the world that we live. So with an upgraded curriculum, especially in our Zimbabwean context, we need to empower these students, these youth, with the practical skills and incorporate hands-on training and practical experience in permaculture design and implementation, how best that they can do it. Instead of just ending their education in the classroom, they should also go out there and practice these systems. And I also believe, like our guest has said, that we should provide access to cutting-edge technology and tools such as precision agriculture and water management system, especially in our agricultural sector. We need to keep on improving whatever that we are doing. Zimbabwe itself is an agricultural-based economy. So with such technology and providing access to these technologies and tools, it will help us in improving our agricultural yields as we progress in our day-to-day lives. And I think we also need to foster collaboration between youth experts and communities to develop context-specific solutions. When you go out there in the communities, we need to educate the communities what permaculture, how can permaculture help them in their day-to-day lives, and we need to have these experts around so that they provide full information and people get the full knowledge. And people like guests who are already exposed in permaculture designs should be there to provide youth and being mentors, maybe probably offering mentorship programs and networking opportunities to support youth in their sustainability careers. We know that some people are not aware of the careers that are available nowadays. So by providing mentorship, going out in schools, and even in universities, just to try and introduce these new systems and these new studies will help in terms of trying to make sure that we integrate our cutting-edge ecological science and hydrological sciences. And we also need to encourage entrepreneurship and innovation, enabling youth to develop and implement their own sustainable projects. And with the issue of green buildings that everyone is talking about, I think if we bring an element of permaculture into these things, it will go a long way, and we'll have a lot of innovators coming up with innovative ideas, just to help around the communities that we live in. And we also need to promote interdisciplinary learning, combining ecological sciences with social and economic aspects of sustainability. And I think if we take into consideration all these things, empowering the youth with knowledge, skills, and support, we can unlock the potential to drive sustainable change and create a regenerative future. Thank you.
Wow, Judith, another great response, and makes me think after what you said and what guest said, that maybe we need to bring Ian Parker from segment number 1 into a conversation with the two of you, because you both mentioned the water management piece, and water crisis is what he's working on. But the entrepreneurship and mentorship, absolutely, and internships, I think I'm a big fan of the hands-on way of learning. And so I'm going to turn right now to George and ask George, with your knowledge and expertise as the coordinator for African Leaders for Nutrition, which we say is ALN at African Development Bank, AFDB, in what ways can permaculture education help address the nutritional challenges faced by marginalized communities, especially in the context of climate change? George?
Thanks, Mary, and my gratitude to JB Dongolo for giving us the chance to really highlight this important issue. When you hear about African Leaders for Nutrition, you know that we are focusing on high-level political advocacy, meaning our interest is to make sure that issues that affect our community, including permaculture, can actually be elevated as political, priorities, but as well as policy. And this, takes me to the recognition of permaculture education as a tool in addressing nutrition challenges, and of course, looking at the marginalized communities, especially in the context of the African continent, and more so the fact that some of the issues that our marginalized community face are exacerbated by climate change. Allow me to address this in three critical areas. One is when you talk about permaculture education, you are talking about awareness, you are talking about understanding of what permaculture is in relation to food production. And therefore, you are talking about who needs to help us change what needs to be changed to be purpose fit for our communities. And I'm looking at policymakers. So I'm looking at permaculture education as a way of getting our policymakers, our political leadership to be able to elevate permaculture as an agenda within government priorities, and therefore be able to support our communities to really integrate it, to really ensure that there is extensive education to our communities, empower them so that they can be able to continuously produce sustainable food that is nutritious, that can help address their health challenges, but also economic. So it's critical to look at that as a policy driving tool. Secondly is the resilience food systems. Permaculture promotes sustainable agricultural practices that are resilient to the impacts of climate change. And this is a critical issue, because if you educate our communities, if you educate our leadership, if you educate our political, but also policy, designers and formulators, then you are ensuring that we are able to create resilient food systems. And that means we are able to teach our communities on how to design and manage ecosystems that mimic natural patterns. Permaculture, therefore, can be able to help us create food systems that are more resistant to extreme weather conditions, such as droughts and floods. And this, as you may know, is common currently because of the climate change. We are continuously seeing floods. We are continuously seeing droughts. This affects our food systems at community level, but as well making it difficult, for us to be able to sustain ourselves. We now see food crisis, not just at global level, but for the African community, it's actually extensive. It's therefore important to appreciate that by becoming more resilient, we are able to really fend off climate, impacts that exacerbate food crisis and then causing malnutrition. It's therefore important that the permaculture education is critical in building resilience in a crucial marginal communities that really need education to be able to sustain themselves. A third point that I want to address is what is very close to my heart, and that is the diversity and nutritious diets. I mean, when you talk about permaculture education, we are talking about cultivating diverse crops. We are talking about, looking at variety of crops that we produce, but also we are talking about variety of balanced diets. And this is how then permaculture education can actually translate to what we see on the table. As we sit on this platform, I'm asking myself that beyond this time for those who are going for dinner, what is going to be on your table? And how can we reflect on permaculture education being able to really ensure that this diversity and nutritious diets that are put on our table, incorporating various crops like fruits, vegetables, legumes, herbs. Communities can access a broader range of nutrients essential for good health. Remember, when you talk about nutrition, you are talking about health, and this is important because then if permaculture can be able to translate to our health, then we know we're on the right track when it comes to productivity of our society. And therefore, diversity can also help us reduce dependence on one single crop, which can be risky in the face of climate-related disruption. Over and above, this is an important tool. Thank you.
Yes, very good. Oh, wow. Wonderful response. And some things that we probably didn't even know or didn't put together in the right way that would make us think about food, and I think about food as medicine as well and how it impacts health if you eat the right foods. But this is really bringing it right home to us. So thank you, George. I want to kind of come back to guests now and ask, what is your take on permaculture education being effectively disseminated to diverse communities? And how do we overcome barriers to access and engagement and ensure it has relevance and impact for those communities?
It's a very good question, Mary. Well, permaculture education does have significant potential to impact diverse communities positively. But then its effective dissemination requires thoughtful strategies to overcome the barriers to access and engagement. Firstly, empowering local leaders to spearhead permaculture projects can foster greater community ownership and involvement. Many communities already possess traditional ecological knowledge. Now, integrating this knowledge with permaculture principles can create more culturally appropriate and effective practices. Additionally, training local facilitators can create a ripple effect, spreading knowledge organically. Also, encouraging participation across different age groups can strengthen community bonds and ensure the transfer of knowledge to future generations through practical hands-on experiences, because they tend to be more engaging than theoretical learning. Community gardens and demonstration sites can also serve as living classrooms. An inspirational project is the Greening the Desert project, which is in Jordan, with a simple approach that teaches permaculture design and provide practical permaculture training, as well as giving guided tours and demonstrations of the site. I believe this gives people the tools to do it themselves and empowers everyone to be a part of the solution. Another strategy would be to collaborate with local organizations and governments. This can facilitate broader reach and access to resources. These partnerships can also help in aligning permaculture efforts with broader community development goals. Furthermore, continued mentorship and support after initial training can help communities implement and sustain permaculture practices. This might involve regular checkups and additional training sessions if need be. Regular feedback from the community would also be essential to ensure that permaculture education remains relevant and effective, allowing educators to adjust methods and materials in response to changing needs. To add on, exchange programs between different communities can enrich permaculture practices by introducing new ideas and new perspectives. This has been demonstrated by many excellent projects across Africa and beyond. Also, a development of mobile teaching units can extend reach to remote communities that may lack access to permaculture educators. Establishing these local permaculture hubs where communities can gather to learn and share resources can foster continuous engagement and support. Digital storytelling is also a powerful strategy. Documenting and sharing successful permaculture projects through videos, blogs, and social media. This can actually inspire others and provide practical insights into how permaculture principles can be applied in different contexts. I've personally utilized my experience in raising chickens to author a handbook on raising permaculture chickens and a few blogs on different permaculture topics, which can all be accessed through the Vine Permaculture website. It's also important to note that permaculture education has proven to be already effective in several ways. Its diverse approach has enabled it to be effective in a lot of countries, more than 150 countries around the world, but with very little external financial support. However, there's room to enhance its effectiveness, as I have expounded. Ultimately, what we need support from scientists and evaluators to bring this work to the attention of policymakers so that they can provide the investment that would then accelerate its adoption and enable communities to take more action on delivering the Sustainable Development Goals.
Wow, I took like, a whole half a page of notes from just what you said. And one of the things that hit me is the permacultural hubs that you're talking about. It kind of reminds me of an innovation lab type of environment. But the facilitators that you're talking about, like ambassadors in the communities, the hub where there's learning going on and some examples and some support for actual getting that hands-on experience, I think is really super. And one of the things I'd just like to point out is refugee camps all over Africa and all over the world actually could really benefit from learning, from the permaculture ecosystem for sure. So thank you, guest, very much. I'm going to turn to Judith again and ask her if she can guide us on how we can effectively bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application of permaculture, ensuring that learners develop the skills and experience necessary to create sustainable and resilient communities. Judith?
Thank you, Mary. And indeed, I think this requires a comprehensive approach that combines hands-on training, real-world experiences, and community engagement. My response will not go much very far from what guest has just elaborated, as we would require hands-on training. When we say hands-on training, we're saying that we need to provide the learners with practical experience in permaculture design, implementation, and maintenance through various workshops, internship, and volunteer programs. We just need to design some of these programs so that the youth can join these programs, the youth can learn, and the youth can know and understand the world of permaculture. And like I said before, there's need for mentorship. That's pairing learners with experienced permaculture practitioners for guidance, support, and feedback. And there's also need for real-world projects whereby we engage learners in real-world projects, allowing them to apply theoretical knowledge to practical problems. Unlike just entering in the classroom, they need to go out there and experiment the things on the ground so that they understand how everything goes about and if there are any lessons that they can learn from the real world projects that they would have embarked on. And on community involvement, yes, we need to encourage learners to participate in community-based projects, fostering connections with local stakeholders and promoting social learning. In our communities, the communities that we live in, we need to involve the communities where we are operating from. We need to involve them so that they get the necessary support, and they make sure that the communities are involved. And when participating with the communities, there's so much support that will come from the communities, unlike excluding them from all the activities. And the issue of experimental learning, incorporating experimental learning activities such as field trips, demonstrations, and experiments to reinforce theoretical concepts. When you're saying this, you're saying that when you're exposing the learners to permaculture, they also need to go and visit the areas where there are successful stories and learn from those people. Even if there were mistakes that were made before, they can also learn from those, from the field trips that they would have embarked on, or some demonstration or experiments, so that they reinforce their theoretical concept, what they would have read on the book, and they see it in practice. Then I think they'll gain more knowledge. And they also need to focus on developing essential skills like observation, design, implementation, or maintenance when it comes to permaculture. And feedback and evaluation is also very important, in whereby these learners are regularly assessed on progress, and they are provided with constructive feedback and encouraging
Right.
self-reflection, so that whatever they will be doing, and whenever they'll be doing or embarking on the projects, they get the feedback so that they learn more, and just leaving them on their own. And the networking opportunities are also very important. I think it's very important to engage in networking opportunities, just facilitating those connections among learners, practitioners, and communities, so that we keep on sharing knowledge. Every day we learn new things. Yes, every day we learn new things. So with networking, you get to know some of the things that you never knew, or some of the things that will be happening elsewhere, and actually develop your knowledge base. And basically, curriculum integration will help in permaculture education, so that the existing curricula promote a holistic understanding of sustainable practices that are available. And continuous learning. Yes, we learn every day and new things happen every day. So we need to encourage lifelong learning, supporting learners in their ongoing permaculture journey. So I think with this, we can actually effectively bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application, empowering the learners to create sustainable and resilient communities. I think if we are able to implement these steps, we'll be able to move far, and we'll be able to be innovative in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Yes, absolutely. Nothing beats hands-on, and you make me think of academic research with projects that have grants behind them that I see float through my inbox all the time that are looking for teams of people. So even partnerships in that respect could be helpful to adults and youth. So it gives some hands-on experience. I'm going to turn to George now for our last question and ask him, how can the principles of permaculture be used to design diets that are both nutritious and sustainable, and what educational tools are most effective in promoting these diets? George?
Thanks, Mary, for that. And I
Sure.
think the key thing is rest with the policies that we elevate in our countries. Unless we integrate permaculture as part of our policies, then it's going to be very difficult for us to really be able to get, one, resources to it, two, the technical expertise to it, and three, research that can help us ensure that the food that we produce using permaculture practices, are designed in a way that we are able to, produce nutritious food, and that's key to it. Number two is that we are able to support research that can really be able to help us ensure that the designs of the foods that are the outcome of permaculture, practices are those that are purpose fit for our community, but also ensure that what goes on the table through food production processes are actually what we need, because they are nutritious and they are diet that can support the health of our community. I dare say, because this was one other important part, and just to show how the African Development Bank is part of this. One of the most empowering aspects, for permaculture is the use of local knowledge and resources. At the African Development Bank, through our Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program, we launched a partnership with the Global Center on adaptation. This program promotes nature-based solutions, including agroforestry, ecosystem-based adaptation practices, and these are tailored to local conditions. And these are very important aspects. What are some of the tools that can help us get where we want to go? Research is critical in this. And by integrating traditional knowledge with these sustainable practices, we can be able to empower communities to take control of food production, but also build resilience against external shocks. These are elements and determining factors of what kind of diets that then get on our table. And finally, we cannot talk about food production without talking about market systems. Are we able to then look at what is it that the market requires, and therefore ensuring that we are investing in permaculture practices that not just get food to be produced, but get food, nutritious food to be produced that is fit for the market that requires it. And therefore, it's important that market research as a tool be employed to ensure that they are aligned, the permaculture practices are aligned to the market, that then we'll be able to ensure that we meet the demand of our local population. Over.
Forgot I was on
Sorry,
mute.
Mary, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that the diet piece of this permaculture conversation is extremely important, because that is, that's a sustainable factor of our, of our being. So we have to have that right. And it's health. It's every aspect of health when you think about it. So we have to get this right. And being able to incorporate all the comments and ideas on solutions that were presented today, the education and empowerment, the innovation piece, the hands-on, experiential learning, and the mentorship, and all the different pieces that we were talking about today, really critical. Thank you so much, all of you, for the wonderful guidance and expertise that you have provided us today. And I'm going to turn it back over to Lumbi for her final comments.
Wow, thank you so much again, Mary, and all of you speakers for such insightful ideas and knowledge and everything that we've learned here today. I hope that everybody can leave here, with something, having learned something. And okay. I see something here that you skipped, Ingrid. Okay, because Ingrid could not be here. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So we're good, and I think we're ready to start the next session that starts just shortly after this, in just a few minutes. And thank you all for your time for this session 2, panel 2. So give yourself a pat in the back for a job well done. Thank you. So now we're going on to the last session of today, which is session 3. And we have about a couple of minutes to see Princess Mariappen, Kanti Shati, and let's see, let me get everybody on here. The names, that's going to be Robert Michael. Okay. Professor Ingrid is the one that we're going to skip, right? Because she is not here. From what I understand, she may not be here because of an incident, and we pray for her and hope everything goes well. So it's just going to be the 3 of you with Mary. Thank you so much again. So there's 2 minutes for you guys to show yourselves on the screen so we can see you. And if you just finished talking and you're no longer needed on the screen, please turn off your video, and as well as your audio. Okay. All right, so let's see. Everybody's here. Miss Kanti is here. Robert, can you turn on your camera, please? Okay, Robert, turn on your camera, please. I hope he's not having trouble rejoining or something. Okay. All right, we have 1 more minute. But thanks everyone, our guests, thanks for joining. This is the Science Summit at the United Nations General Assembly. This is our last session of the day. We call it panel 3, it's the last panel of the day. They usually say save the best for last. Perhaps this is the best for last. This was highly, this session was liked by a lot of people. A lot of speakers wanted to be in this session, but we only could have you guys. So that's why we're saying we're saving the best for last. So let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Lumbi Malambo. I am the founder and CEO of JB Dondolo. I am the convener of the sessions at the Science Summit at the General Assembly, UN General Assembly. So thank you all so much for joining. And I would like to start by welcoming everyone and to let you know that this is a science-powered permaculture session, a collaborative approach to sustainability that is divided into 3 subsessions. The subsession is for this panel is panel 3 and is named Ethics and Diplomacy in Permaculture, Driving Sustainable Economic Development. The objective of this session is to examine the intersection of ethics, technology, diplomacy, and leveraging permaculture for a sustainable economic development by addressing the ethical implications of technological innovations, their influence on environmental and economic policies, and the role of diplomatic efforts in promoting global sustainability. The discussion aims to explore how these elements can synergize to create a sustainable economic model and enhance community resilience. The expected outcomes of this session to analyze how ethical frameworks and diplomatic strategic integration into permaculture practices take effect. Science informs practice. We know that a collaborating synergies between diplomats, technologists, and permaculture practitioners in promoting sustainable practices and technologies. And of course, everybody's looking for funding, right? So funding to enhance community resilience. We hope that you can collaborate and partner with us. Everybody here has a project. Everybody here is a business owner, and everybody's looking for funding. We are all, most of us are small organizations, and we're seriously looking to collaborate. So I would like to share a video, an opening video here, so that we can, we have an idea of who is who. So let me set it to there so I can go back to my Zoom session and share. All right, here we go.
Delving into the United Nations General Assembly, we at JB Dondolo and Impactiverse ask that as you engage, you're reminded of foundational aspects that underpin our work and these panels. Without access and more open science, we cannot progress the goals for the greater good. Without partnerships, collaboration, and coordinated effort, we cannot amplify the impact we intend to have. And without engaging our youth, we risk eliminating the hope of long-term solutions for future generations. On that note, we proudly introduce our youth interns. They'll be listening closely and capturing key insights to be reviewed by us ahead of submission to the UN General Assembly Science Summit to inform the upcoming Summit of the Future. We appreciate your contributions as we embark on this important journey together. Thank you for helping to shape a sustainable future. Delving into the United Nations General...
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now I want to introduce you to your moderator. Some of you have seen her. It's Mary, the fabulous Mary, doing a great job. And welcome to all panelists. Have fun.
Great. Thank you, Lemmy. Appreciate it very much. I'm going to start with Kanti. I want to know, as chair of the Asia Business Council and a distinguished member of the Arlington and India Chamber of Commerce, how can ethical frameworks be established to drive sustainable economic development in commercial real estate and transformative projects, ensuring that both human and ecological communities benefit from future economic landscapes? Kanti?
Well, thank you, Mary, and a very good afternoon to all esteemed colleagues and global leaders. And thank you to UN Summit and Lumbi from JB Dondolo for having me as a panelist speaker today. Yes, I am. And, I'm Kanti. I'm an investor, a real estate developer, a strong believer in empowerment and a strong advocate for education. Having said that, when we discuss ethical frameworks in commercial real estate and the transformative projects that you just mentioned, Mary, it's crucial for us to prioritize sustainability and inclusivity. And these frameworks, should be guided by the comprehensive, there's a synonym called ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance. So this criteria will align with actually the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And this ensures that our developments promote ecological resilience and social welfare. And by incorporating such advanced green building technologies, such the biophilic design, which also integrates with natural elements into the architectural and the urban planning, can significantly reduce environmental footprints while enhancing the quality of life for the occupants and the residents. And furthermore, adopting circular economy principles can also minimize waste and maximize the reuse of materials throughout the construction and operational phases of the developments. And also, having said that, it's also vital for us to ensure that these projects are developed with strong stakeholder engagements, with employing participatory design processes, and also engage and involve communities, from the very outset. And this approach also, not only fosters a sense of ownership and acceptance among the local populations, but it also ensures that developments are tailored to meet specific community needs while advancing broader economic and environmental objectives. And by championing transparency, inclusivity, and sustainability in every phase of the commercial real estate development, we can create ethical frameworks that contribute positively to both ecological and human communities, paving the way for our harmonious and prosperous future, per se. Thank you.
Well stated. As someone who works on the funding side of some of those development projects, the one thing that I'm noticing now is many of the developers are already adopting that sustainability mindset and understanding that is where we're going. You might as well go ahead and adopt those processes and those policies now. So thank you for that, Kanti. I'm glad that I'm seeing some of what you said already, becoming a reality. I'm going to turn to Robert now and ask Robert, given your background in sociology and community development and your emphasis on ethical approaches to global issues, how can we effectively measure and optimize the economic outcomes of permaculture initiatives while addressing the challenges and opportunities presented by technological advancements in global diplomatic relations?
Yeah, good afternoon and greetings to everybody, especially the young people out there. So all the interns, volunteers, and partners that we have, I'm going to get right to the point. So as an NGO with consultative status, special consultative status, as my friend, Dr. Ogulana, we have a special position working with the United Nations. And one of that is to use SDG 17 as a focal point. That's partnerships. So the partnerships that I see, to answer the question, is The world being split up into three sectors of the private, the government, and civil society. And this is where I think the power of this meeting and this conference and this whole United Nations General Assembly time is. Those are three different languages. Imagine three different people from three different backgrounds, and they don't share the same ideas, the ideals, and even goals. This is the platform that I'm happy to be a part of, and that's why this is an open invitation. So this is a commitment type of event here. I want people to say, I want to be part of this. So as a nonprofit, Apex Development, at the United Nations level, this is something that I'm so proud that Lumbi has been a part of, and she's been working on this for some time now. And so everyone here who is not working with us directly, please reach out to Lumbi to reach out to us and participate in this. So what I've created was something called Global Initiative 2030, and it's also subtitled the G30 Fund. And so the UN and international organizations, they create funds to create the financial structure and support system for their projects, partners, and initiatives. So this is something I think is really key, especially for young people and people in developing nations who are NGOs. So that's one of the highlights of our nonprofit initiatives, is to represent the NGOs in developing nations who don't have access to resources the way we do here. And so that's where I think the answer would be, to create the budget, create the team, and create the funding sources that people can access readily and without too much complexity and complications. So I think we need to work together and partner with each other and commit at these levels, because I'm so proud to even be on this panel. So I want to share so much support for everyone else. But thank you for your question. I hope that was direct.
Yeah, Robert, that's you hit the nail on the head right there. 17. If you don't get number 17 right, you'll never get the 16 before it right.
It's impossible.
You're never going to do anything in a silo or in a linear space. So
exactly,
to work with those PPPs, so the the nonprofit sector, the government sector, and also the private folks, really important.
Yes.
And I agree, the funding has to be there. And so if you don't help
Absolutely.
them understand how to put together a budget, these smaller NGOs, these community service organizations, or maybe even a little larger than that, and give them some administrative assistance,
Right.
it's really tough for them.
Yes.
So yeah, so bless you for all the good work that you're doing. And same thing to Princess Meridian. And I'd like to get to Her Highness. As a leader in women's empowerment through the Women's Health Project International, providing access to healthcare, economic empowerment, and cultural development, what is your perspective on how diplomacy and ethical frameworks can be leveraged to facilitate the responsible and equitable integration of technology into permaculture practices on a global scale? Princess?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary, and thank you so much, Lumbi, for bringing such esteemed leaders, on this panel to actually have these discussions. I'm very proud to say that I was able to see the last two sessions and just really seeing how permaculture and health are closely interconnected. Is one of the things that I want to really dive into, just start off with, and just as a side note, because permaculture's holistic approach to sustainable living and food system are significantly impact, on human health. And it's in so many several ways, maybe the access to nutrition, clean environment, stress reductions, sustainable healthcare, and so on. And I do believe that by integrating the permaculture principles and practices, individuals and communities can cultivate a healthier relationship. And as Robert rightly say, with the work that we've been doing, AWHPI, the African Women's Health Project International, AWHPI Global Foundation, is in special consultative status at the United Nations. So a lot of our work that we do are wrapped up around the UN SDG goals. And I'm proud to say that Robert is a part of that, Lumbi is a part of that, and and I mean, just really doing some amazing work that they're doing globally. So it is my pleasure to be here and to be able to speak on this, as a leader in women's empowerment through the AWHPI Global Foundation. I believe diplomacy and ethical framework are essential in leveraging technology to responsibly and equitably integrate our permaculture practices globally. Now, here's why. This is my perspective, right? Number one, inclusive diplomacy. To engage in diverse stakeholders, including women, indigenous communities, and local farmers in diplomatic efforts to ensure that their voices and perspectives shape the integration of technology in permaculture. Secondly, ethical framework. When you establish and apply ethical guidelines prioritizing human rights, environmental sustainability, and social justice to guide the development and deployment of technology in permaculture. And we had this in the last two sessions, with all the different global leaders that spoke. Third, cultural sensitivity is very important to respect and acknowledge the cultural heritage and traditional knowledge of local communities by integrating technologies in a way that complements and enhances their existing practices. Fourth, equitable access to healthcare. When we started the African Women's Health Project International, it was started because we wanted to bring equitable access to healthcare for women and children in underserved communities all around the world. We want to make sure that we ensure equal access to technology and its benefits by addressing the digital divide and promoting digital literacy among marginalized groups and people. Number five, responsible innovation. We want to foster responsible innovation that prioritizes environmental sustainability, social impact, and human well-being, that is by avoiding harmful consequences. And before we finish with the global cooperation, Robert alluded to that about the SDG 17 being the key pivotal point that actually connects all the other 16s. When you look at it from the SDG 1 up to 16, what connects it together is the 17th. And you know that each of those SDG actually are connected to each other. So because, from having no poverty to zero hunger, to good health and well-being, to education, women empowerment, all, and I could list it, go on and on. It's all because once you have to have that collaboration, it needs to be a big part of it. And of course, lastly, we want to empower women. Empowering women that is by practicing women's empowerment and leadership in integration of technology in permaculture, recognizing the crucial role in sustainable development. And I do believe that by embracing these principles, we can actually harness a diplomacy and ethical framework to ensure technology supports permaculture practices that are equitable, responsible, and beneficial for all.
So well stated. So well stated. Thank you so much. You make me want to just jump right on into that organization that you're belonging to and be a part of because I feel like I align with just about, everything that you were stating. And I think that is our way forward. We just got to get past some of the roadblocks and move forward as a unified group and understand that we can't do this alone. We have to have the partnerships. So Conti, I'm going to turn to you now and ask you, as you connect people from diverse backgrounds, what opportunities do you see for educational programs or community awareness initiatives that can advance permaculture technology and translate into policies at multiple governance levels to foster a more equitable future? We're just going to compound what Princess Meridian has just stated and get some clarity on your side of the house.
Absolutely.
Conti?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary, for addressing such a pivotal area. In my role, facilitating connections across various sectors and cultural backgrounds, I recognize the transformative potential of education in advancing sustainable practices. For example, like permaculture. And permaculture isn't about agricultural efficiency, like one of our speakers just mentioned. It's a philosophy that employs conscious design principles to create self-sustaining ecosystems, and this, which can be applied from small urban projects to large agricultural enterprises. That's the beauty of it. Now, educational programs also that can focus on permaculture can foster innovative thinking and practical skills, in sustainable management, in areas like conservation practices, stuff like that. And also by integrating these programs into primary, secondary, and tertiary curriculum, we can also nurture an eco-conscious generation, which is equipped to address the pressing challenges of climate change and sustainability, per se. And moreover, the community awareness initiatives that can amplify the impact of permaculture education by translating it into community-led projects, that will regenerate and revitalize ecosystems and economies is also, beneficial. For all these educational efforts to influence the policy, it is crucial to establish strong networks of communication among educational institutions, number one, non-governmental organizations, number two, and also government bodies, per se. And this tripartite collaboration can facilitate scalability of successful models through supportive policies and incentives, and effectively embedding them, into the permaculture in local and national development strategies again. And then by enhancing this community resilience, Mary, promoting ecological balance and fostering socioeconomic inclusion through education and policy reforms, we can advance a truly equitable and sustainable future. These enhanced, strategies together will help us, come up with a vision and, deeper understanding of sustainable practices in real estate and community planning.
Yes, and I was thinking when you said about communication, from a standpoint of all the different spaces that you just mentioned, all the different factors and aspects of the community that you just mentioned, it's literally just comes down to that one word, just communicate. And being able to understand that permaculture hits so many different spaces that you really do have to kind of look at it that way, that it's a broad stroke. And communication, not just with agriculture community or the farming community, it is much broader than that. And being able to bring in all those stakeholders, really important. So thank you, Conti, very much. Turning now back to Robert. Robert, how can ethics, technology, and diplomacy be harmoniously integrated to create a robust framework for permaculture-based economic development that prioritizes long-term sustainability? Robert?
Okay. Hi. So I wanted to just, I feel so great when I'm on a panel with people that when you hear them speak, you forget what you're about to say, because she hit it right on the head. And Princess Ogulana, she also hit it on the head. So coming together and listening to each other. Okay. So now how do we have ethics? So as part of the UN, at ECOSOC, which is the Economic Social Council, as a consultative status member, this is one of the things I will always proud myself always. I'm the platform. That's all I am. I'm the platform. I'm the doorway. I don't have all the answers, but I have the way in to the world stage. So what I want to do, what I'm here for, especially the young people and the voiceless, the people who are not here, when they say, how do I have my vision heard? How do I connect with others who may be interested in what I'm doing, even though I'm not where you guys are at? This walk with us, be part of what we're doing here today. So the invitation today is open to everybody with good intent, positive motives, and ethics is by including the women, number one, the elderly, the ones who came before us, and then the youth. We're only here for a short time. So our job is to open the doors for others. the ones who are still to come, the ones who are maybe on their way to the next phase of their experience of this thing called life. And that's where I'm happy to always tell everyone, if you want to be a part of something, tell me what you want to do, lay it on the table, we'll look it over and we'll present it to the world. As a member of ECOSAC, and this is very important, I think, to share with everybody who's here, listening, watching, and everywhere around the world, we have the ability to connect and network and be a part of and make statements at the world level of, I'm talking about 193 nation member states. So if there's an idea you want to have, women's rights, you know, anything, especially I'm big on women. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. So single mother in Brooklyn. I love, this is their time. Since 2012, I said I'm going to start focusing only on working with women. The women have a magic power I think has been untapped for so long. And this is a whole, we can go into another section about this, but yes, to include them and give them the platform to be part of the committee. Let them have a committee, a review committee of what we're doing ethically with science, technology, and let them to say, as Princess Ogulana said, respect the culture. We're all part of from different neighborhoods and different backgrounds, but we should respect each other as family. We're one world. No one's better than another person. We're going through the experience, and how do we help each other? So I think by putting people as part of our, including them as part of our literally legitimate community and committees at the world stage, part of our NGOs and part of our funds, they can see what is hurtful, what is harmful, what is helpful to practices and technology and advancing going forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. You brought up a lot of good points, and I think reiterated some that we've heard a couple of times today, but cannot be said enough. All voices, be inclusive. And because if we don't include everybody, all the demographics, the younger, the older, the gender differences and all of the above, then we're missing out because we're not hitting the mark if we don't. So thank you for that. And you mentioned ECOSOC again, and I don't know how many people that might be listening or watching that know about ECOSOC, but you know, if you're an NGO, if you're a nonprofit, you can make application to have that consultative status. And I think you have to be operational for 3 years before you, was it 2 years? 2 years before you can make application for that. And, you know, there are some benefits to that, and it gives you sort of a more in the know opportunity to participate. And so what
Can I
he's
add
sharing.
one more thing? I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Also, just
Yeah.
as a member of ECOSAC with the status, we also are reaching out to our members, viewers, and audience in Geneva, in Europe. We have access also to participate for members who are part of our team in Geneva and in Vienna. So we want them to be a part. We want them to be a part of us. I can't go to Vienna. I can't go. We're in New York. So how do we be in 2 places at 3 places? We want people to be a part of this. This is the door. Absolutely. So thank you so much for mentioning it. I hope I would have forgot it.
Yeah, no, that's thank you for adding that on and correcting me. I thought for some reason it was 3 years, it's 2 years. So thank you. But I just wanted people to know that if they're a part of a nonprofit and they're listening, that they should look into that. And you can go to the UN website, I think, or Google it and you'll find it. So thank you, Robert. I'm going to come now to Princess Mariappen and ask her the last question before we maybe have a few minutes to make a round and ask for final comments. So you guys have your opportunity to be thinking about that as we go through this. So Princess, please share your insights on how permaculture can be transformed from a sustainable lifestyle into an economic engine that drives local communities. I was going to say local economy, same thing. Prosperity and resilience attached to it. So Princess?
Thank you so much. And I'm glad to be able to come on the back of Robert and Kanti. And Kanti said it like one of the communications she mentioned about permaculture being a sustainable lifestyle and design system. And, you know, and then I looked up, especially, you know, when we're really looking at permaculture, and because, you know, permaculture aims to create an environment that is regenerative, that is sustainable, that is self-sufficient, that is diverse, that is resilient, that is low impact, and that is environmentally conscious. Permaculture, a sustainable lifestyle and design system, can be transformed into an economic engine by driving local community prosperity and resilience. And they can do that by these several ways. And I'll just make some list, because as they were speaking, and even the team before us, as they were speaking, I was making notes. So I have like a whole ton of basket of notes here. Now, how can the sustainable lifestyle into an economic engine that can drive local community? First, by scaling up, that is, expand permaculture practices in larger areas, increasing food production and economic impact. Secondly, diversification, that is, encourage diverse income stream through value-added products, tourism, education, and services. Thirdly, community engagement is very, very important. We know that from working with ECOSOC, at the United Nations, community, making sure that, because we belong to the civil society, right? And as Robert mentioned earlier about the fact that the UN is categorized in 3 different ways. You have the governmental, you have the civil society, and then you have the private partnerships. So when you have that, so us being the one that are part of the community engagement and community, the grassroots support that brings it, that actually do the work, we foster collaboration, and that's another keyword about that's been echoed, from all of our esteemed panels here. Collaboration, skill sharing, and cooperative business models. Number 4, market access. We want to establish robust marketing channels and connection to consumers, restaurants, and retailers. Like Kanti mentioned about communications, making sure that is crucial. Infrastructure development, that is by investing in infrastructure like into irrigation systems, storage facilities, and processing units. Policy support, advocates for policy, and promoting permaculture practices in the local food system. That's how we drive economic growth. And of course, education and training, that is, we offer workshops, internships, and mentorship programs to build skills and knowledge. And that is one of the things that we do over here at the African Women's Health Project International, AWHP Global Foundation, with partners like Roberts and Lumbi. Technology integration is very important because, as we know, we're definitely in the future now. The future that we're talking about before, when we were young, we were saying in the future, now we're in the future. And, and AI is very important. Technology is moved from the way we used to do it even 10 years ago, even 20 years ago. So definitely the technology and making sure the AI integration is a big part of it. And then, of course, social enterprise models, you cannot underscore that. And that is implementing socially responsible business structures, prioritizing community benefits, making sure that, the people that are at the grassroots, the people that are in the marketplaces, especially when we're talking about the African continent, we have a lot of, grassroots and a lot of community and rural marketplace going on. And of course, the last but not the least, partnership and collaborations. I cannot overemphasize a lot. I do a lot of speeches across on energy and climate action, especially in the UAE and in Egypt. At the ADIPEC, I'm usually there every year as a keynote speaker. And one of the things that we've really honing on is about collaborations and partnership, making sure that we bring in the right type of partnership to bring it all together so that we can be able to, so that the people that are going to be able to make the policies are able to connect with the people that are actually doing the work, the civil society, and connect with the people that actually have the money to be able to drive the growth, to drive the issues that we're trying to move forward. So collaborative partnership to foster strategic partnership with organizations, governments, and businesses. And this is a call too for all of us that's listening, that's watching from the UN General Assembly. about the need to support and collaborate with this organization, with JB Dondolo, the organization, the Impact Verse, and AWHPI Global Foundation, and all the different speakers that are over here. Each and every one of us were leading in one way or form in our organizations. And so we are here to be able to make sure that we foster growth by collaboration and partnering with each other. And I believe that by implementing these strategies, permaculture can become a thriving economic engine, driving local community to prosperity and resilience. And we need that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're aiming for here, is that sustainability and resilience. Sustainability is how we get to resilience. So that's important. That's key. So we literally have just a few minutes left. So I figured I'd go back around one more time and see if there's a challenge or if there's a comment. You have about a minute. So I'm going to go to Conti first. So Conti, final words.
Yeah, thank you. And as Her Highness and Robert just rightly mentioned, and as we conclude, this enlightening panel discussion, I'd like to emphasize on one important thing, which is the immense potential of the permaculture that permaculture holds, for shaping sustainable futures globally. And by integrating, these ethical practices, as, Her Highness just mentioned, and leveraging, technological advancements, we just heard Neha speaking this morning, and fostering robust diplomatic relationships, we can significantly enhance the viability and the impact of the permaculture initiatives. And having said that, it's really crucial, that as we move forward, we need to prioritize inclusivity and accessibility and ensure that these sustainable practices, benefit all the segments of society, and particularly those who are most vulnerable. And we must also ensure that our strategies are adaptable and resilient to the changing global landscape and reflecting both local needs and the global environment goals. Yeah. But thank you to my fellow panelists and Mary and Lumbi, for all your insightful contributions, and to all the attendees for engaging in this vital contribution. And let us all collaborate and innovate, the driving agenda for a sustainable and prosperous future, through permaculture and beyond. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. We have new partners today. All of the speakers, we have new partners. Robert, final word?
Yes. So I would like to just, again, piggyback off of all this great energy. Today is Friday the 13th, but I'm not superstitious. I have no fear. And as a matter of fact, this has been like one of the most amazing days of the whole year. So I want to offer this one thing to everyone out there listening. We are here. Remember, we're here to represent you. So please, as Princess Ogulana mentioned, reach out to us. We are here. And yes, as Ms. Mary Kurek says, imagine us having our own conference at the United Nations. That is coming up in the future. So this is a precursor of what you will see live if you become and partner with us and join us, whether you're private industry, which is the revenue people that seek revenue, or government. Government is a different type of energy there. They legislation and they do their laws, and they regulate. They create regulations. But the civil society, which is us, we are the ones that have humanity. We are the ones who believe that helping others is more important than money. So we are here to bridge this gap, in a way, create that platform. And we're here, so we just want you to be a part of this. It doesn't matter at what level you can participate. I'm sure everyone has a great talent that will help someone around the world. And we're here to do that. I don't have all the answers, but I have the platform. So that's what I wanted to share with everyone, please. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening and day, tomorrow, week, and year, if we don't speak. So thank you so much for being part of this.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Princess, you have the last word. You have about a minute. Go for it.
Okay. Well, thank you. And you know what? I couldn't finish this without definitely talking about women empowerment, because, at the center of our organization is women. And I do believe that empowered women empower communities. And I just want to encourage everyone to let us continue to uplift and support one another, fostering a world where everyone have access to healthcare, economic opportunities, and cultural development. Because together we can create a brighter future for all. Remember, the power to make a difference starts within each and every one of us. And I just want to really congratulate, Lumbi and the Baby Dondolo, the Impactoverse, for such an amazing panel topic, that really delve at the heart of the people. And so it's my pleasure to be here, and just want to say, connect with us, join us. Collaboration is the new currency. Let's use it.
Great last words. I love it. I love it. And such a rich topic, permaculture. Thank you. And thank you to everybody for being here. And Lumbi, I am turning it back over to you as we close out this third segment.
Wow, this is so rich. Oh my gosh, this was so exciting. Yes, you know me, I'm always campaigning for women and women empowerment. So I want to end by saying, fund women. If you're here and you have access to funds of any sort, women are always in need of funding because we're the underfunded people in the world. The reason why we cannot advance is because we need funding. So all these people that you see here today, that spoke here today, that are invited here today, some can fund, some need to be funded, but either way, just know that we all have projects, and the only way to get them forward and to achieve 2030 SDGs is for us to be funded and work together. Just like all of you have said, the platform is there. You can get to the UN and be like we are here, right, at the UN. You can be physically there. The platform is there, access is there, but we just need to be funded. We could have had this whole thing at the UN. The only thing that fell short is because, again, it was being organized by a female, so we didn't get funding. So, but we would love to be at the UN physically. So please think about funding women. If you have access to funding, try to make it easier for us to get funded. You can ask as many questions as you want. I think that's what happens. Many questions to categorize. But if you remove that, then we can make progress. Do not ask too many questions. Just fund women. See what happens. If you just fund without asking too many questions, I promise you, and I can guarantee you, you're going to be on the top of the world, because we're going to surprise you and we're going to do better than you think. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for attending. It's been a great day. Have a good day. Good evening. Ciao. Thank you, Mary. You've been phenomenal.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very
Bye,
well
everyone.
done.
Bye.
Bye. Great to meet you.
Bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you, Mary.
Nice to meet you too. I'd love to learn more about the organization. So
Thank you. Thank you.
reach
I
out, yeah.
will share more information too with you. Yes.
That'll be
And
wonderful.
I
I know
think my
Lumbi can
link is in the
connect
bio
us.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.